There was something about Friday nights that made things feel lighter. The week would end, and suddenly time belonged to me again. I remember standing in the parking lot of Blockbuster, feeling the heat rise from the asphalt even as the sun started to drop. The blue and yellow sign glowed against the purple sky, and I knew that inside those glass doors, there was a PlayStation game waiting that I hadn't played yet. The automatic doors would whoosh open, and the cold air would hit my face. Inside, everything smelled like popcorn and plastic cases. The fluorescent lights made everything look sharper, cleaner, like a movie set. I would walk past the rows of VHS tapes first, past the candy counter, past the people returning movies, heading straight for the game aisle in the back corner. That's where the games were. Wall-to-wall PlayStation cases in their distinctive black sleeves, arranged alphabetically, but somehow always a little messy, like someone had just been there before me, looking for something good. I would run my fingers along the spines, reading titles, seeing screenshots on the backs of cases, trying to decide which one I wanted to take home. The choice felt important. I only got one game, maybe two if I was lucky. This wasn't scrolling through infinite options on a screen. This was physical. This was real. I had to choose carefully, because once I walked out of that store with that blue and yellow case in my hand, that was what I'd be playing until Monday. The anticipation felt nice. Standing there in that cold aisle on a hot summer night felt comfortable. The town I grew up in wasn't special, but it looked pretty when the golden hour hit. Everything would turn orange and soft, and the streets looked nice. The Blockbuster sat in a small strip mall between a pizza place and a drugstore, and on summer evenings, the whole parking lot would glow a little. I'd usually arrive just as the sun was setting, when the sky turned those shades of pink and purple that seemed to happen a lot in the 90s. Before heading inside, I'd sometimes stop by the drugstore and look at the magazine rack near the front. Gaming magazines with glossy covers, screenshots of games I wanted to play, cheat codes printed in tiny fonts that I'd try to memorize standing right there in the aisle. I'd fold down the corners of pages in my mind, thinking maybe I'd come back and buy one later. Sometimes I'd have my Walkman clipped to my shorts, the yellow plastic bright against my clothes, earphones around my neck, paused mid-song. Walking into Blockbuster felt comfortable and familiar. The aisles were narrow, lined with hundreds of cases, and the carpet was that specific pattern that only existed in video stores, geometric and dark, hiding years of stains and footprints. I'd head straight to the PlayStation section, but I'd walk slowly, taking it all in. The new releases were always at the front, displayed face out with their cover art visible. The popular games would have multiple copies, but sometimes there'd be only one left, and seeing it there felt lucky. I'd pick up cases and read the backs carefully. The screenshots showed worlds I wanted to visit, racing games with shiny cars, adventure games with heroes holding swords, weird Japanese imports with characters I didn't recognize but was curious about. Every choice was interesting. Every game was a little bet on how I'd spend my weekend, and standing there in that cold aisle with the summer heat waiting outside, I felt good. The process of choosing was half the fun. I'd narrow it down to 3, then 2, then I'd stand there holding both cases, weighing them in my hands. Sometimes I'd recognize kids from school doing the same thing, and we'd exchange glances, small nods. We were all here for the same reason. We all understood. The rental case was always satisfying. that chunky blue and yellow plastic clamshell with the Blockbuster logo stamped on it, slightly worn from hundreds of other hands. A little scratched, but solid. Inside, the game disc would sit there, sometimes with fingerprints, proof that someone else had been here before me, had played this same game, had returned it so I could have my turn. It felt nice, like borrowing something from a friend. At the counter, the clerk would scan the barcode, and the computer would beep, and they'd tell me the return date, and I'd nod like I'd remember, even though I knew my parents would remind me several times before Monday came. The receipt was thin and long, printed with dot matrix precision, and I'd fold it carefully and put it in my pocket. Walking out of that store with the game case in my hand felt good. The parking lot would be darker now, the summer night settling in warm and thick. The car would be hot inside, and I'd roll down the window as we pulled out onto the main road. The air smelled like cut grass and asphalt. I'd hold the game case in my lap, looking at the cover art under the streetlights we passed, reading the back again, even though I'd already memorized it. My heart felt light, that good kind of excited. The drive home was never long, and it felt calm. Behind me was the Blockbuster, the choosing, the browsing. Ahead of me was home, the console, the game, the weekend stretched out comfortably. In the car, in the dark, with the window down and the warm air rushing in, everything felt okay. My neighborhood at night had its own sound. Crickets and distant lawnmowers, the occasional bark of a dog, the hum of air conditioners and windows. The houses all had their porch lights on, yellow and warm, and as we pulled into the driveway, I could see our living room through the window, the glow of the TV already on, waiting for me. I'd thank whoever drove me, grab the game case, and head inside, already thinking about which snack I'd grab first. The PlayStation sat under the TV on a small shelf, black and angular. I'd kneel down in front of it, press the eject button, hear that mechanical whir as the tray slid out. Placing the disc inside felt careful and deliberate. The label would catch the light, holographic and shimmering, and I'd make sure not to touch the bottom, just like the instruction manual said. The tray would slide back in with a satisfying click, and then the startup screen would appear, the Sony logo, the PlayStation logo, and finally the game's intro, and my weekend would officially begin. I'd play for hours that first night, sitting close to the TV, controller cord stretched across the carpet. The room would get darker around me, but I wouldn't notice much. The game would pull me in, its music, its worlds, its challenges. I'd memorize patterns, learn controls, discover secrets. When I finally paused to grab a drink or use the bathroom, I'd feel a little disoriented, like I'd been somewhere else and was just now coming back. The nice part was knowing I had the whole weekend ahead of me. Friday night was just the beginning. Saturday and Sunday stretched out comfortably, and the game was mine to explore, to get better at, to enjoy. I'd fall asleep that first night thinking about it, planning strategies, remembering cool moments, looking forward to waking up and playing more. There was something pleasant about those nights. The combination of summer freedom, cold AC, the glow of the TV, and a new game world to explore made everything feel comfortable and right. Block 05. Saturday morning would arrive with sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of cereal. I'd pour a bowl of whatever sugary cereal we had that week, the kind with bright colors and prizes inside the box, and I'd eat it quickly, already thinking about the game. The TV would still be warm from the night before, and turning it on felt like picking up where I'd left off. I'd play through the morning, barely noticing time passing. The house would be quiet except for the game's music and sound effects, which became the soundtrack to my weekend. I'd make progress, unlock new levels, find hidden areas. Each discovery felt good and rewarding. These weren't games you could look up online or watch someone else play. If you wanted to know what was next, you had to get there yourself. By afternoon, the summer heat would be pressing against the windows, making the inside of the house feel cool and comfortable. I'd take breaks to grab snacks or flip through the instruction manual, looking at the artwork, reading descriptions of characters and items. Those manuals were interesting, hinting at things I hadn't discovered yet, showing me there was more if I kept going. Sometimes friends would come over and we'd take turns playing, passing the controller back and forth, giving advice, celebrating wins, laughing at failures. But even when I played alone, it felt okay. The game was good company, a whole world that was there whenever I wanted to come back. The weekend would pass, the way weekends do. Sunday evening would arrive with that familiar feeling, knowing the game had to go back tomorrow, knowing school was starting again. But even that was part of how things went, part of what made it feel like a routine I could count on. Monday would come, and we'd drive back to Blockbuster. The parking lot looked different in daylight, more ordinary, but the store was the same inside. I'd hand the game back to the clerk, watch them check it in, see them put the disc back in its case, and slide it onto the shelf where I'd found it. Someone else would rent it next, have their own weekend with it, make their own progress. Walking out empty-handed felt a little odd, but also fine. The weekend was over, but it had been good. I'd beaten some levels, discovered some secrets, spent time in another world for a while. And the nice thing was knowing I'd be back. Next weekend, I'd be here again. There were lots of games I hadn't played yet, lots of weekends ahead, lots of summer nights that would start with that automatic door whooshing open and the cold AC on my face. I think about those nights at Blockbuster sometimes. I remember the blue and yellow cases, the narrow aisles, the decisions, the drives home with the window down, the glow of the TV in the dark living room, the way everything felt slow and gentle. I remember how it felt to be that age, in that town, in that moment when everything was physical and you could hold it in your hands. The Blockbuster isn't there anymore, turned into something else now. The PlayStation games sit in boxes somewhere. Summer still comes every year, warm and long. Sometimes I'll catch a smell or hear a sound that reminds me, and for a moment, I'm there again, standing in that cold aisle, holding 2 game cases, trying to decide which one to take home. And in those moments, I remember how simple it was. Those weekends were slow and comfortable and mine, and Blockbuster was part of them. The going, the choosing, the playing, the returning. It all fit together into something that felt good and right. A small piece of time I got to live through, held gently in memory, like something warm I can still reach for when I want to remember what those summer nights felt like.
Alright, we'll wrap it up here for now, but if you want to keep riding this feeling, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and drop a like. I'll see you in the next episode. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming.